Hey everybody, welcome back to another Wayback Wednesday review, and joining me again is my brother-in-law, Robert Sawdy, who, if you haven't seen the M-Word yet, definitely go check that out. It's actually really funny. It's not that long either, so, it's a quick watch. So last week we talked about Dead Alive, Peter Jackson's magnum bloody opus, and so this past weekend we watched one of his more recent Halloween classics, The Frighteners.
The Frighteners.
Well, let's get right into that. So, how'd you like this one? What was your rating on this?
I liked it. It was pretty good. I'd rate it actually more of an 8.5. It was much more comprehensible than the previous iteration we just saw. Michael J. Fox, of course, always does a good job.
Seriously, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. It definitely has a more cohesive story than Dead Alive. Dead Alive, don't get me wrong, Dead Alive has a cohesive story. That's, definitely there. But, yeah, it seems like for most of the first half of the film, it's kind of all over the place. Whereas this one really is much more, it's much more succinct, so to speak. So, yeah.
And better edited, better overall production value.
Well, when you got an actual, major studio backing you up, and when you've got Robert Zemeckis at the helm, as far as the production aspect of it, yeah. This movie, of course, was directed by Peter Jackson, but actually produced by Robert Zemeckis, who, of course, was Back to the Future, Castaway, What Lies Beneath, and then Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So this is a guy who knows film. He's like a one-man film encyclopedia, it seems like, and very underappreciated genius, if you ask me. Even for as much as he is appreciated, he is still underappreciated, really.
Oh, yeah.
So would you classify this as horror or comedy? I mean, I know it's both, but does it seem like it falls more into one category than the other?
I'd say it's about a good 50-50.
Okay, so, yeah. I mean, it's really hard to classify. Everybody always asks, like, is it a horror film? Is it a comedy? It really is supposed to be both. I mean, the fact that you've got Michael J. Fox, who is a classically trained comedic actor, in the lead role of this, even though he has some pretty serious moments in this film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that it really does a good job of blending that horror and comedy at the same time, and that of course lends to the fact that this was supposed to actually be a Tales from the Crypt movie.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that show?
A long time ago.
Okay, yeah, that show still holds up today. It's almost like a horror version of the Twilight Zone, really. Really, it actually does follow that format, that Twilight Zone format. You got like Rod Serling talking about the episode in the beginning and in the end. You've got the Crypt Keeper talking about the episode in the beginning and the end. You've always got this weird story that has some kind of creepy classic twist. Now, granted, the Twilight Zone, was like they were the pioneers of that, and Tales from the Crypt kind of took that and ran with it, just added a more horror element rather than sci-fi-ish element.
Oh yeah. But overall, I give it a good 80, 85.
And I know the answer to this, but they don't. So, who was your favorite of the ghosts?
I'd have to say the Old West guy. I forgot what his name was, but
the judge.
Yeah, the judge.
Really, I was surprised. Yeah. I was. See, me, it's between the judge and R. Lee Ermey.
Oh yeah.
And I was really thinking you were going to say R. Lee Ermey.
I'd have to say to him, but he was short-lived. He kind of bummed me out.
Very, very short-lived character. I mean, he had about as much screen time as the judge, but
no, he had less.
Maybe a little less. I think the judge had more character development.
Yeah.
For the very short time he was on. Yeah, and of course, Judge played by John Astin, the iconic actor from the original TV show The Addams Family, and father of Sean Astin. Did you know that one?
I did not.
Yeah, so Peter Jackson's actually worked with John Astin and his son Sean Astin in, of course, Lord of the Rings as Sam. So, yeah.
He loves the Astins.
He must love the Astins. Okay, yeah.
I think R. Lee Ermey just pretty much copy and pasted his role from what's the movie he was in?
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, that one. That's pretty much all he did in that one.
This is the same guy, right? This is his ghost after he got his head blown off.
I'm pretty sure, but
what the hell are you doing in my graveyard? Who's the slimy little communist twinkle-toed sucker down here who just signed his own death warrant? I do not like you. Sound off like you got a pair. Sound off like you've got a pair. You will not laugh. You will not cry. You cannot bring your spooks in here without my permission.
As always, even though it is a copy and paste, Ermi always brings it. I definitely miss the guy.
And it's that guy's voice too. He's even like in Toy Story, you hear the voice of that one army man soldier, and you just know it's him. You just know it's R. Lee Ermey. So yeah,
iconic actor.
My man. And so okay, so from here on out, let's just go ahead and put up the spoiler alert warning here. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, if you don't want to watch anything, if you don't want to know anything about this movie, if you haven't seen it and everything like that, skip and go watch this film and come on back. So the plot of the story, it starts out obviously as just people are dying, and you've got Michael J. Fox who can see dead people, and he's using it to con people. He's the ultimate con artist. It's like he's a con artist, but he's a legitimate con artist somehow. Because he actually can see dead people. But just for the most part, dead people leave us alone. They don't usually haunt houses and tear stuff up. He gets them to do this so that he can make money off of it.
We would like to cruise with some style, man.
You guys left me high and dry tonight. I get to the house, nothing's happening. Couldn't believe it. You guys didn't even bang the toilet seat lid. You made me look like an asshole.
We strained our backs lifting that heavy-ass bed, Frank.
And then, of course, we've got death coming and killing people. What did you think of the plot of the story?
I liked it. I mean, it was definitely explained a little bit better later on in the film of who the actual death character was.
Yeah, they had to have it actually be somebody, because the idea of going after the actual spirit of death is kind of like ridiculous. Because what happens if you get rid of death?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the idea that this isn't necessarily the actual death killing people. He's not just a person who collects souls as they die. He's actually going around killing people, which isn't what death is supposed to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Of course they had. So of course, if you haven't seen the movie, so yeah, it's what was it? Jake Busey.
Yeah. Jake
Busey's character, who is a serial killer, who turns out to be, he has somehow taken on the mantle of death, and I gotta wonder how that works. It's like, how do you?
I have no idea.
A lot of things you got to suspend the disbelief for in this film, like the idea of he escaped the afterlife, he escaped hell. Like, how do you escape hell? Did whatever entity controls hell just like his work so much that he said, yeah, sure, you can go back and kill more people?
That could be, because he had the drive to get a certain number, I think.
Yeah, he had his motivation was to be the to hold the record for the most number of kills. He even mentions at some point that he's as Ted Bundy's down there bragging about how many kills he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, okay. So did you see the twist coming?
Kinda. I mean, I kind of forgot about Gary a little bit after a while, because there's just so much.
Well, not that twist. Because that was kind of set up. Like it's going to be obvious that he's the twist that it's actually his girlfriend helping him out.
No, I kind of saw a little bit of something coming on that.
I had a feeling. I remember. So it was a long time ago that I saw this movie for the first time. I was actually working in a video store when this movie came out. So I saw all the advertisements for it, because we ran the advertisements for this movie along with all the new releases on the television above my workplace all the time. So I saw the previews for this as it was coming out. I even got to see some behind the scenes stuff for this film when it was being made, and it did look like a good movie even back then. Especially the special effects. The special effects in this movie are fantastic for the time it was made. Hell, they even kind of hold up today. I mean, there's some parts where the CGI is a little wonky, but the sludge monster version of him, that special effect didn't quite hold up so well. But when he's actually death, he looks creepy as shit. Oh, yeah. All the ghosts look fantastic. They're almost like this almost fluid kind of substance of ectoplasm, I guess, is what they're supposed to be, and the idea that almost looks like fluid, the way they distort the background. I don't know if you'd ever noticed that. But yeah, I saw this movie when it came out on VHS, if that tells you anything. But yeah, I remember seeing this movie for the first time, and this was my first introduction to Peter Jackson. I didn't come to the Dead Alive movies till later, and of course Lord of the Rings wasn't even out yet. So, in fact, for the longest time, I thought this was actually a Robert Zemeckis film until I watched the credits and realized, oh, some guy named Peter Jackson. Who's that guy? Right?
Yeah, actually see him, I think.
Total nobody.
I think it actually has a cameo.
Yes, he does. He's the guy with all the piercings and stuff that bumps into Michael J. Fox after he comes out of the newspaper building.
Looks very much like he does now, except a lot skinnier.
A lot skinnier. A lot less scraggly, too, I think he might have been, you know. He kind of looks a little scraggly in that, but that's because he's supposed to. He's made up to look like some kind of a biker or something like that. Yeah, so when I saw this movie, I can't remember if I really saw ahead of time, if I was able to figure out that the girlfriend had something to do with it. I think I had a suspicion about her. She was very... You could tell something was off, you know. You could tell that there was something about her that wasn't entirely right.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was the mom. I didn't think the mom had really anything to do with it. I just didn't like her character.
Yeah.
She was.
I think she was kind of. She kind of helped with the twist a little bit and make people believe it's her, but it's
right.
really not.
She was almost an obvious red herring, is what I think.
I would say she is an associate, considering she had the knife that killed his wife.
I think, yeah, and of course that's because that's kind of suggested that she was trying to. She was trying to use that as blackmail against the daughter. She said she says towards the beginning of the movie that she could have the daughter locked up at any time. So it's almost like she knows that the daughter was involved in the death of Michael J. Fox's wife because she has the switchblade.
Yeah.
Or not switchblade, safety razor. So because she knows that she's using that as, you know, blackmail to hold over the daughter's head. Like I could have you locked up anytime because I know you killed the guy's wife. So she's the obvious red herring. And I think when I was a kid, I saw that. I saw that she was the obvious red herring. I didn't believe for a second when she came downstairs that the mom had suddenly agreed to go to the police.
Yeah.
I was like, as soon as she comes downstairs, oh, Mother wants to go to the police now. I'm like, Mom's dead.
That's funny.
And brilliant reveal of, you know, just of Jake Busey's character being there. And the fact that she can see him too is actually pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So I like this. Now here's an interesting thing. Something I noticed. Something I remember from when I was working at a video store. This movie is rated R. Why is this movie rated R?
I think the ratings back then were a bit more strict than they are nowadays, as you can get away with like nudity in a PG film now.
Well, you could do that. No, you can't. No, you can't really get away with nudity in a PG movie.
I've seen it.
I mean,
shown on Cartoon Network and stuff. It's stupid.
That's anime. That's
well, yeah, but
that's
then,
Adult Swim.
Still,
that's a different thing.
No, it wasn't even Adult Swim. What was that? Total Drama Island thing or something like that. They had nudity in it.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, you don't want to. It causes cancer. There are a few other ones that they like, you know, slide stuff in, but
this movie is like, okay, so I don't remember hearing a single F-bomb. There's not a whole lot of blood or gore in it, especially when you count it against Peter Jackson's other movie. And there's no nudity. So what is it about this movie that's rated R? The only thing I can think of is what Todd McFarlane said. Todd McFarlane, back in the day, said that if you ever go to the MPAA and you say that you want to make a movie about hell and death, it's instantly going to be rated R.
yeah.
When we go to the ratings people and we go, oh yeah, it's about this hero from hell. Pardon me, would you say? Hell, strike one. We're already at strike one. And he lives in the alleys and it's in shadows 80% of the time. Strike two.
He tried to do the Spawn movie for years, and he wanted to actually make the original Spawn film PG-13 so that kids could go see it. He knew that his primary audience was a bunch of kids that read his comic books. Now, the comic books, of course, were much more graphic and violent than the movie was intended to be. But he said that the movie was going to be dark. Well, strike one. The movie's going to be about hell. Strike two. And a guy that fights the devil. And strike three. It's out. It's rated R. This movie, it's dark. Takes place in like cemetery for a very large portion of the film, and it's about death. So 3 strikes, it's rated R. Even though there's no blood, no gore, no sex, no nudity. There's a little bit of violence, but overall, I still don't see this. This is a PG. This is a PG-13 at best.
Yeah.
If you have a movie completely taking place in a graveyard at midnight, and all the people are doing are saying, "Please pass the tea and crumpets," they will still give you an R rating to some degree. They will argue they won't, but they're lying.
I kind of agree on that.
So I don't understand. I really don't get the MPAA. And South Park has even said, Matt Stone and Trey Parker have even said the MPAA doesn't make any damn sense,
Yeah.
Every time they made us cut something, we put in something worse as a big middle finger to them, like, all right, watch this. And every time they'd okay it.
They made it more offensive, and now it's rated R.
Oh, man.
So the MPAA doesn't make any sense. Never has made sense. Hasn't made sense for years. I mean, this is, yeah. I mean, seriously. So I don't know. It doesn't make any. It just doesn't make any sense. The R rating in this movie doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, and I think we got to talk about one more thing, and that is the FBI agent.
Oh God.
The actor's name's Jeffrey Combs, I believe. Weird FBI agent. I don't know the guy's name, but the weird FBI agent. Yeah. Oh my God! Where do we start with that guy?
I don't know. He was kind of creepy at first, and then you just couldn't figure out what his angle was, pretty much.
It's like everybody in this movie had some kind of weird quirk about them. The daughter, the Michael J. Fox's character, the FBI agent, the mom even. There were no normal characters throughout this film, except maybe the doctor, the love interest. She was probably the most normal character throughout the film. She's essentially the outsider. She's the audience looking in. So I guess she's the only one who could be normal. Everybody else had to be a Peter Jackson film character. So. But it's like, okay, so the FBI agent. Here's a thought. This guy is the main character from Dead Alive if he had gone on to be in the FBI.
Pretty much. It
seems like that's his. He got done chopping up dead bodies with a lawnmower and went and joined the FBI. Absconded to America, lost his British accent. I mean, he even kind of looks like the guy.
Yeah.
Very similar appearances. Very skinny, gaunt, and just
a little out there.
Yeah, everything about this guy just screamed weird. Like this is not a good guy. Yeah. He's definitely not on the side of our main character. And he's just so freaking weird. Everything about him, his mannerisms, his voice, his tone, his inflections, it's all off. Everything about this guy was off. And
then at the end, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, and it just got worse. He started off as at least somewhat normal, like he could just be,
just like schizo or something.
You said agoraphobic in the beginning, right?
I think so.
I think you said he might. You asked if he was agoraphobic, but it's not. He's not agoraphobic because he's clearly out of the house.
He's just a closet Satanist.
I don't think he's necessarily even a Satanist. He's an occultist. Occultist would be a good way, because he studied occult and stuff like that. He even admits it that he studied all sorts of occults and different religions and religious sects and stuff like that. So, and I guess you get that immersed in that crap, and it takes a toll on you mentally, and in this guy's case, physically, because he reveals that he's completely covered in body scarring and stuff like that. So, just
Deathly Afraid of Women, though.
Just weird movie.
Weird but decent. It's not bad at all.
It's definitely good. It's definitely out there. It's definitely good, and it's definitely a fun time. Would you say okay? So would you classify this as a Halloween movie? I mean, it's a horror film, so that
I'd have to say so. Like kind of like a Hocus Pocus type deal.
Okay, so yeah,
just something not too horror, not too comedy, just a good mix.
Just something fun. It's not necessarily gonna. I mean, because the movie's not scary. It is a horror film, just in the sense that it's about ghosts, it's about demons, and death and all that stuff. But it's not really that scary. It doesn't have a whole lot of. I mean, it does have a couple jump scares here and there, especially towards the end, the hospital scene. There's a few places where it kind of tries to make you jump, and I imagine people that aren't used to watching horror movies might actually. I mean, let's face it, you and I have watched plenty of horror movies. When was the last time a horror movie legitimately scared you?
Scared?
Yeah.
Shit, when I was a kid. Maybe. What was it? The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe was kind of.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'd say the most recent thing is that one episode of Zach Bagans.
Oh yeah, the Haunted Museum.
Yeah, episode 1. All the other ones are just kind of eh.
They're definitely creepy.
Yeah.
If you have Discovery Plus, check out Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. It's absolutely fantastic. It's so much fun, and the first episode sets the tone, for the kind of show you're going to be in for. But that is I agree. I completely agree with Robert here that the first episode is definitely the creepiest of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to see something really creepy this Halloween, go get on Discovery Plus and watch Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Last time I think I got legitimately scared by a movie was probably when I was a kid as well, and I have another video coming out later this week that is going to be talking about that particular film. But now I think movies just kind of creep me out. They don't necessarily make me scared because I know they're movies, but they can be disturbing. They can be those kind of movies that kind of get in your head and make you realize, dear God, what's going on here? And that's kind of unnerving. But actually legitimately scared by a movie, not really. Okay, so to wrap up, this is a fun movie. It's definitely entertaining. If you've seen this movie, go back and watch it again, see how well it holds up. It really does hold up really well for the time it was made. And if you haven't seen this movie, what's wrong with you? Go watch this film. It's so much fun.
Okay, I definitely agree. It's a very good movie from what I've seen from it. It's kind of like a Back to the Future, but horror, in a way. Just a little bit.
And if anything, also to see one of Michael J. Fox's really later things. This is I think one of the last movies he did. He did the TV series Spin City after this, and I think shortly after that is when he finally retired from acting because of his condition. So this is a good movie. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, this is definitely one to go back and watch around Halloween and just sit back and enjoy. Say, if you like this video, please hit the like button and leave us a comment. Let me know what you thought. Let us know if you've seen this movie and what you thought of it. If you really like the content of this channel, please consider subscribing. We've got a lot of stuff coming out here in the future. We also just put up our latest short film, Sanguineus. It came out last week. I'm actually getting ready to submit it to some film festivals for this year, and we'll see what comes of that. And I'll definitely keep everybody posted in future videos. So, thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a great week, and happy Halloween.
See you guys.